Oh God, how are you, dear?
I'm good. I'm good. I've had a good week. I've been working on stuff and doing regular human work in addition to hobby work and sewing some more shirts together because I'm trying to slowly replace my entire shirt wardrobe with things I make. As you do.
Yeah.
How about you?
Um, Mostly work. I've it's been a busy time. It's basically now the end of the year is hitting us, which sounds crazy, but when you're in the corporate world, the end of the year is March. So like I'm doing, we're audits are starting back. I'm having to do my end of year discussions with the people who report to me because I am executive fish.
You know how much I love that expression. Shout out to Taina Norell and her blush palette. If you guys have not gotten it yet, touched by Norell. She is the person who taught me the term executive fish, and I have never forgot it in my life.
And the moment you told it to me, I grabbed onto it.
It is the greatest expression ever.
And I have not let that go. Lord have mercy.
It's literally the funniest thing I've ever heard. Like the first time she told me it, I was like, I just died a little bit. I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh God. So there's that. Let's see here. What else is going on? Yeah, nothing really. Have you been able to get a vaccine yet?
No, not yet. I've got a little bit of the inside work coming, hopefully. I have a person on the inside that might be able to work a route. Because yeah, getting one down here and getting signed up is a nightmare. The registration system is impossible, and yeah, it's just not great. So yeah, I'm just trying to do the opposite, which is what I do best, which is work my connections.
So this is an interesting dichotomy because it looks like Florida doesn't have their shit together. Because you got Florida man running it.
What? What are you saying right now? How could you say something? Us not having it together. I've never heard of such.
Whereas North Carolina, like it's hard. Like it's not easy, and I've helped a lot of people who may not think like because you have to go to multiple websites. You have to like search and hit buttons and like do stuff. You have to be active about it. So I've helped a lot of my coworkers get vaccinated, but it's not horrible, right? Like it's doable if you are 45 or younger.
I mean, I have friends that are some of them are getting it, but it's just funny. Like some of them are getting it, and I'm like, how did you get it? Because you're younger than me, and it's because people are working a route here because this is Florida, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some of them could have been really rich and just gone to Governor DeSantis's thing and like.
Well, I mean, he totally actually did that. By the way,
yeah,
I
know he did.
Open vaccine centers in the most highest earning zip codes in the state.
Which different than Cooper. Cooper waited till it was his time and like put on a like commercial or like a presser with him going to get it. It's like, I've waited my time. Everybody should wait their time. Let's get through this together.
Oh my God. Did you see the two girls that dressed up like old ladies here?
Yes. Yes. I also saw Marco Rubio's arm. That is the Miami Heat machine, sound machine. Whatever. The
Miami Heat machine.
The Miami Heat machine.
Hey, there we go. We have a new band name we can use somehow.
It's you dress up in basketball uniforms, but it's a Gloria Estefan tribute band.
Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on. Wait. I think we may actually be onto something right now.
Turn the beat around. Love to hear percussion. Yeah, you're welcome.
I think, yeah, that actually sounds like something that could be possible down here.
Ma.
Oh man, man, you've totally wrecked my brain now. Because that's the problem though when you tell someone like me who does improv. You say that to me, and now I'm like, wait a minute, I feel like we could actually do something with that.
Well, get some people together who know how to sing.
Yeah.
Preferably that are actually Cuban.
Yeah.
I mean, or Haitian. What like?
I mean, I don't really know anybody other than Cubans. What are you talking?
There you go. And like, if one of them could be a drag queen, and like just get them together, or a bunch of lesbians. That's even better with the basketball uniform. Bunch of Cuban lesbians.
Oh no. No.
Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm not gonna say you're wrong because I mean you're not wrong. But it's just the way you said it. I was kind of like, oh. I mean, I actually feel like my sister Carla Croqueta, she could easily front a Miami Heat Machine cover band because Carla can actually sing the house down.
Yeah,
and she is like the most glamorous bearded drag queen in all of Florida. So,
when you said your sister, I was actually picturing your brother in a Gloria Estefan wig.
I can see that. I can see that. I've seen him in worse wigs.
That's what I'm saying.
I've seen him in god awful wigs. So.
Yeah. So before we get into this episode, I have one more thing I'd like to mention. Did you watch Drag Race UK already?
I did.
Are you happy with the final four?
So I say this in the nicest way, right?
Don't.
It's been the final two now for like 3 episodes. We've known who's going to be in the top 2 for the last like at least half a season. And so I'm already like, if the person if Bimini wins, who's the person I would love to wins, then I'm going to feel like all is right with the world because very honestly, I feel about Bimini the same way like I felt about people like Jinx, the same way I felt about people like, those contestants that come along and it takes them like a minute to get started.
Yep.
But it's also like it takes them a minute to just continue to be themselves.
Right.
And be an elevated version of themselves. And I literally, as we watch Bimini be like, oh wait, I just need to be myself. And it's been amazing because Bimini's form of drag is very different than their last winner, right?
Yeah. Very
different. But it's also still so British that I was like, I think it was like I'm pretty sure it was after Snatch Game. Although I was already a Bimini fan before that, but after Snatch Game, that's when I realized I was like, Bimini is different, right? Yeah. There's something different about the way that Bimini just lets everything go and lets everything hang out and like just balls to the wall all the time.
So I think part of it is that she has the good part. I'm going to say this, the good part of American drag in her, because like in watching their little backstage thing, you had Lawrence and Tace and Ellie who were all like on the verge of tears and like, I can't believe it. You were so mean to me and you were so mean. And Bimini's just like, what, babes? And it was like, if these 3 had been put in American Drag Race with like a Willem, they would have just fallen apart. Yep. Like if the Vixen had just smarted off to them once, they would have just like lost it and just completely cried and rolled around and oh my god.
Like, could you imagine if Bitch I'm From Chicago came out and Fist almost came out?
Like, and Bimini'd be like, all right, babe, boom.
Bimini'd be like, she'd be like, let's go.
Exactly.
Let's go.
And I think that is what is missing from British drag, that and the dancing, whenever you watch it, right? Like, they're all funny. They're all characters, but they don't have that edge that Bimini, and I would say Bag of Chips had a little bit of it too. More so than Vivian.
Well, I mean, I'm still team Bag of Chips.
Yeah.
I'm still team Bag of Chips.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, though, for me also, and this is the thing that I really hated about the last 2 episodes, right?
Okay.
Is that I don't like when people get caught and then they pretend like they didn't do the thing they're caught on, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, like, Ellie Diamond was, like, so surprised that they caught on to the fact that she was being strategic.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you now acting like you're being oblivious to it? Like, are you guys okay with this? Blah, blah. I was like, you know exactly what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and in my head, I was like, that doesn't mean that they're going to fail, because they can go out there into a stand-up challenge and kill it. Mm-hmm. But I literally was like, while she was playing this weird victim with Lawrence Cheney, I was like, you literally knew what you were doing, and all Lawrence is doing is calling you out. Like, that's it. And I personally think that wouldn't have dragged on as long as it did if Ellie had just been like, well, fuck yes. Like, I'm trying to get ahead. So suck it up, Buttercup. You know, like,
I do like for how the past 2 episodes, and maybe even 3 episodes now, it has been Bimini, several spaces, the second person. Like, in a way that the American Drag Race now, that cluster that it is.
I don't even know what to say about that one at this point. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Honestly, I don't dislike it. Right. I am still entertained, but this extended season has really made me re-examine them more every episode. Right. And so I've gotten to the point now where I'm starting to dislike people, and it has nothing to do with their talents. It has to do with like
I mean, Ru made a gamble that the pandemic was going to be, that we would be in a worse place than we are right now. Right?
I think so.
When she was producing it, she's like, let's make this so it lasts as long as possible to get people through, because they're going to be glued to their sets every Friday night.
Too. I think so too.
With that, Candy Muse should be gone.
Well, here's my problem though, right? Is
it Candy Muse? Because it's my problem.
Well, so so you know, like when they always talk about the trope of like and I hate using this word, but I have to use it for the purpose of this trope, but like hooker with a heart of gold, right?
Yeah.
Like, I personally think that like that's Candy Muse's lot this season, is like, and the thing is that we kept getting so close to seeing her heart of gold, like so close, and it never happened. And then when it finally happened is when she's gonna go home, and so Ru's like, okay, we'll keep her.
So I think that it's like, I think she is funny. I think she's witty. And my problem is not with her. I would watch that show, right? Yeah. I would watch that show at Legends when I spent maybe $5 to get in on a Tuesday night. But I am not watching that show at the highest quality it is. And my biggest problem is her fashion. Like, it is
what fashion?
That's it. It is not up to par with. Yeah. The only one who's worse is Tina Burner. That just needs to be flushed out the trash. If she could just cinch a waist once, like.
I mean, even my fat ass will cinch a waist. I mean, it doesn't feel great, but I gotta have a silhouette that, like. But the thing is so crazy to me is, and I will say, nothing this episode that just happened, right? I never had any opinion about Denali to begin with, because she was just always meh. But it is so crazy to me that Tina Burner put Rosé in something that is so not Tina Burner.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that Tina has a picture in that dress, but I'm also like, wait a minute. We have watched for many episodes now. You have a very specific signature look. Mm-hmm. How did you not do that this time? Like, I genuinely was like, like I was almost angry because I was like, did you not get the brief?
I have an opinion about that. That Rosé's performance on the main stage, my husband and I agree, was a deep read of Tina Burner because it was nothing but a caricature of how horrible she is. Like, and she was working it out. The fact that, like, nobody said anything about it because it was just that mean means that it was true. Like, when she turned, it was like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was
like, that too.
You are enjoying this because you hate her.
Yeah, I have to agree. I thought that too.
Do you have a top 3 from American Drag Race? I'll tell you mine are.
You tell me yours, and maybe that'll help me with mine.
I think Olivia. Actually, I've got top 4.
Okay.
I think the top 4 are going to be Olivia, as long as she leaves that little purse at home. I think Rosé is definitely in the top 4. I think Simone, now that she's been in the bottom, that will not happen again. And I think Utica is going to weird her way through it. She's going to be a Katya, like, without all the charming bits. Like, she's going to go maybe 3rd place, maybe 4th place, but she's going to make it a little bit farther.
Okay, so if I had to, so I would say yours are similar to what I would say if I had an ideal top, right? So it would...
I'm not saying that's my ideal top. Like,
okay.
I'm just saying those are the ones I think are going to be on top.
I mean, I personally think, I don't know why, but for some reason I think Rosé is going to win this competition. I don't know why.
I can see that.
I just have this weird feeling.
Was last year's Queen Black?
Yeah.
Then yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
I hate to put it that way.
Well, it doesn't always equal that, but I would say I love Simone, right? Especially this episode is what really, because I was starting to get a little bit like,
yeah,
I love her. I love her elevated urban fashion. I love it. I love it. But I was like, can you do something different, right? Like just something. So when she came out and went full on Utica, I was like, okay, good. I'm really glad to see that, like, there's a little bit of something there. So in like my perfect world, I would say like Rosé, Simone, and Utica would be like my 3, because I do like Rosé. I hope that she starts really like stop being so perfectionist. And I love Got Mick.
I forgot about Got Mick.
Yeah, I love Got Mick, and I feel like Got Mick might win this whole thing.
I forgot about her.
To be very honest, because I just like, and not just because like, oh, you know, she's the first, right? But honestly, it's because it's like they said, Got Mick brings it every time. Like, it's never, you know, you're never going to see, at least based on the runway, you're never going to see Got Mick in the bottom.
Her runway makeup is getting old.
Well, the white face thingy?
The white face thing. Because, like, although she does show diversity in, like, the challenges, that she doesn't paint that way, like, because she painted herself as Paris Hilton. She painted herself. But the runway, eventually Michelle's going to get over it. And she's going to say, you need to make yourself pretty just once.
I think so.
And I think that's a fair challenge.
No, I think so. Well, I mean, that's the problem, though, is I think that with with the Paris Hilton thing, like, I felt like she almost felt like, I ticked that box, so I've done it now.
Yeah. So I may replace Utica with Got Mick. I may, but Candy's the last big girl left, isn't she?
Yeah, they didn't do all this season.
There weren't that many. Was she the big girl the entire time?
Yeah, I mean, what's her name was a little big, like the one that put the shopping bags all over her. Like, she wasn't tiny.
Oh no, she's just a big man.
Yeah, she's just. So I would say
she's just
that,
a linebacker. That's not.
Well, no, but I'm saying, like, if we had to talk about like plus size drag, right? Like, she would fall more on the plus size.
True,
however, did you see the preview for Australia? They got a lot of big girls in that one.
I don't watch previews because I like to be surprised by the first episode.
Oh Lord,
I know.
I can't handle it.
I've now started watching previews for the American one because there's like 30 queens, and I'm not going to remember their name until now. Like it takes 20 episodes before I know what the hell their names are.
So let's talk about real quick before we get into baking sugar. Let's talk about how difficult it is for my husband to keep straight all of these drag queens' names while 2 seasons are going on at the same time. Sometimes he'll think that he's looking for a specific person on one of them. And they're on the other one. And so we were trying to figure out something to watch the other day, and I was like, well, we could always like try to watch like the Latin one, right? Like the Switch or whatever it's called. And he literally was just like, no. Can we just wait for the British one to end first? Because I can't keep track of everything. I can't do it. They're all starting to blend together into one giant drag queen.
So there was not really on the American Drag Race this time a hot one, like a hot boy.
I mean, a lot of people on the internet, a lot of people said that what's his name was the hot one. Went home a little bit ago, had that super, super effeminate speaking voice.
Elliot? No,
not Elliot. He went home before Elliot. The one that Candy had the crush on.
Oh yeah, the one who didn't wear wigs. Her.
Yeah, so like a lot. Joey J. Yeah. So I remember specifically before the season even started that he was the thirst trap that everybody was sharing like his shirtless pictures because he has a nice body.
Yeah.
However, because our people can be so ridiculous and so gross, they were all talking about how amazing and hot and sexy, blah, 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 blah. It's a shame he sounds like that. I was literally reading that in people's commentaries. I was like, I wanted to like throw my phone.
You know, instead of it's a shame he sounds like that, you should be, it's a shame he's not talented. Right? Like... And on that note, let's get into this episode of Drag Race.
I think we just went into another podcast, to be very honest, for a second there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were trying to tune in to Baking Sugar,
we're here.
You just heard a preview of our future podcast.
That's not true.
Okay, I'm just saying we did talk about it for like 15 minutes.
Well, yes, but there are too many. It's oversaturated. There are too many of them. And one of them's hosted by our dear future friend, Nicole Byer.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Nicole Byer, please be our friend.
Speaking of, hold on. One more quick thing. Speaking of Drag Race, Nicole Byer. Did you know that a couple years ago, it came out a couple years ago, and it's just being brought up again, that Brooklyn Heights did blackface? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Nicole Byer tweeted out, Brooklyn, you know what you did. And people are like, what, this? And then, like, repost the thing from a couple years ago where she did blackface with, like, a bunch of hashtags, and one of the hashtags was love. And then there was a comment that said, y'all, excuse the term, I really love the darky. And she didn't delete the comment. Dear listeners, if you could see Auntie Maim's face right now, her can't even. Like, she is.
It's so funny. No, it's even crazier, right? So, obviously, sorry, baking sugar listeners, we're going to segue for a second again. I was just having this discussion yesterday, not kidding, yesterday with my husband about how being basically like a half Canadian American because my father was Canadian, how I desperately wish that this nice, sweet, everything in Canada is so great, racism doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. Like, I desperately wish that we could just take a sledgehammer to that because it is not true. They have a lot of issues with race. They have a lot of issues with their indigenous culture. They got a lot of issues. And And it's just so ridiculous to me that I mean, that what you just told me, it both shocked me, but also didn't shock me.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like, I already know that Brooklyn exists in a little sphere up there that wouldn't have even called that out.
Right.
I already know that because almost everybody that probably would have seen it probably doesn't even know that many black people. And
also, she was also in the ballet scene in America, which I believe, unless I'm wrong, is also real racist.
Super racist.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? It was 2 years ago that they just started manufacturing toe shoes for actual women of color, so they didn't have to wear white shoes because they're supposed to blend in with their body color 2 years ago.
See, what they should have done it the other way and just made everybody wear yellow shoes. Like, just everybody wear the same horrible color.
No, honey, you gotta wear it. It's got to be nude. And we all know that the word nude doesn't mean nude.
So I said something very off color, which I'm going to blank out of this. So Ru's outfit on UK Drag Race, where she had the black thing here and then like the gold, and it looked like she just tacked some stuff onto a bathing suit. I looked at that. I was like, oh, I wonder if the dressmaker thought she was Simone's color, and that's supposed to be a nude illusion.
It's speaking of nude illusion. What was that thing on the U.S. version? That weird panel in the middle that was like, I literally was like, whoa, like that is not the right color for this like illusion you guys are trying to do. Like it actually did.
Oh,
not
the here.
Yeah.
It makes Tace's boobs look even funnier. And on that note, how about we get into episode 8? I do, I don't.
We also need to remember, we need to probably just bookmark a Drag Race podcast. Just bookmark it there for future. Clearly, we have opinions. So, not sure we're not sure what we're gonna call it yet, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. But pretty sure, based on this early conversation you just heard, there's probably a Drag Race podcast.
Oh, good Lord! Fine. We can, but we'll have to get rid of machinations. I can only do one.
Okay. Nobody's listening to that anyway. Nobody's listening to that. Our one listener is going to be like, dang it.
We know who you are and we love you since high school.
We love you, listener. We know that you're going to love our Drag Race podcast.
But this podcast right here, Baking Sugar, has so many more listeners. We're up to like 6. So, you know.
Oh, it's more than that.
I know. We have had 200 listens. We reached 200 listens. At least 35 are me. At least 40 some are Auntie.
No, they're not.
I can't, TBH, I can't listen to this after it's been posted. I love you, but I don't love you that much.
I love you too. Yeah, no, it's like those listeners are not us.
I know. So let's start this episode.
All right. So, hello, listeners. If you've been hanging out with us for the first 15 minutes, you'll probably think this is a different podcast. However, this is Baking Sugar. I am your host number 1, Auntie Maim. With me is
the divine Miss Mims. Hello, world.
Hello, world.
I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. And that's Marjorie. Just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia. The lights went out. The lights went out. The lights went out. The lights went out. And that is the night the lights went out in Georgia. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Well, now you do.
And today's episode of Designing Women comes from December 4th, 1986. It's called I Do, I Don't. And as we've been covering in the last couple of episodes, we're going to introduce another very important character to the series. But first, let's talk about Maryjo's complaining about the upholsters.
So we start off at Sugar Baker's, and Maryjo is sitting there cutting up pictures from catalogs because the upholsters do not understand English. And, like, mild racism.
Mild.
Or xenophobia. They could be Russian or Polish.
I think it's probably more xenophobia this time than racism.
Right.
I think that every time they ever talk about, because that's like the xenophobia that everybody accepts here in America, is that they don't speak English.
wait! I gotta tell you something. Reese just delivered Julia roses.
Shut up! Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah!
Why are there roses? What's happening?
I don't know, but apparently Julia comes downstairs and they're going to dinner tonight. And he's getting her a gift. It's yellow and can be put on one finger.
Oh my gosh, you know what it is? It's their 6-month anniversary.
It is. But do you know what she's going to get? Do you know what she's going to get?
No.
I think it could be, and Charlene agrees with me, an engagement ring.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I side with Suzanne. She probably shouldn't even think that it's going to be a ring because he's not going to ask.
That's exactly right. Like, for once in this entire world, Suzanne has it, right? Like,
Suzanne's right this time.
Yeah, like,
right? Like, spoiler alert, audience, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Now, did you catch? Obviously, this was a very rapid fire couple of minutes on the show at the very beginning. They were kind of throwing jokes around willy-nilly. Did you hear the Imelda Marcos joke?
Yes. She called her Imelda Marcos so Julia walks in with a bunch of bags, and Suzanne's like, "Oh, well, hey, Imelda Marcos," and then Charlene just
love it so much. She's like, "Isn't it a shame about Imelda Marcos?" And they're like, "What's the shame?" She's like, "Well, she's got all those dresses and those shoes and those hats, and she still looks like a chaperone at a prom." And I was like, "Oh." Do you remember when we were obsessed with Imelda Marcos for a while?
I know. Well, she's a very interesting dictator.
No, she totally is.
Yeah, I mean, like, she's a horrible person. Don't get me wrong. Like, horrible person. I'm sure there's some Filipinos who would disagree because they really liked
what she did and what her husband did and all of that
somewhat,
stuff.
But there were also a lot of people who just disappeared. Like, and she's got shoes, all of the shoes. Oh my God,
shoes. Oh, we should do a mashup video of that with footage
with her, Barbara Walters.
Yes. Just keep putting it in. So I would like to point out in this scene, because it is not my Miss Georgia World moment. However, I do want to give props to Suzanne in that gorgeous red blouse with the black. Oh my gosh, it was so cute. Yes.
This is a good episode for fashion, TBH.
Yes.
So Charlene says he's going to hide the ring. And then she goes to this story of her friend Brenda Barker, who got hers in a piece of cake, but she ate the cake and had to be rushed to the hospital. Well, they got the ring back, but her fiance was so upset he spent $65 on a meal and had to have her stomach pumped that they ended up marrying other people.
Yes. I think my favorite joke in that moment was when they said, what was it? They were like, "So Maryjo, what did Ted do?" And she's like, "I didn't get a ring. I got a gift certificate." And I was like, oh man, I had two thoughts. I was like, oh, that's awful. And then also, and you still married him.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Man, alive. But now I have to say, this is I think this episode is actually one of my favorites so far, because in the next scene, getting to see Julia and all this physical comedy was just Golden.
So we go to the restaurant and we meet Reese, who was played by Hal effin Holbrook.
Hal Holbrook, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. If you don't know who Hal Holbrook is, he is an American acting icon.
He passed away not too long ago.
He was an American. That's right. He was an American acting icon of both stage, screen, television, the whole thing.
He had a one-man show where he was Mark Twain for years. Like, the man played Mark Twain for years. And he was Dixie Carter's real-life husband.
Real-life love affair we have here.
Yes, and I believe they met on the set. Yeah, like, after this, he moved on to Evening Shade, which, if y'all didn't watch, we will not be reviewing that show, because it is real white and real boring.
I was gonna say, I was like, at first I was kind of like, I got my hopes up for a second there. I was like, because you know how I am about Burt Reynolds, and and I was just like, oh, are we gonna do Evening Shade too? Oh
no, we'll do the John Larroquette show before we do that.
Ooh. Or Empty Nest.
Oh God! Although, you know, a Night Court one.
Don't play with me like that.
Oh, I'm not.
Don't play. I'm dead serious.
Well, we got about 4 years of this to get through at the rate we're going, so we'll have to see where we're at after that.
Don't play with me about Night Court, because that is like Night Court, Designing Women, and Golden Girls. That's like it for me when it comes to it.
So, Reese has something to tell her. Her hair looks bad. Her face is real angular.
That was so crazy to me. It's funny because I guess I didn't remember this episode so much, but like I really didn't understand, and I guess it's because of course they would have cast him to be like a male Julia, and but it was funny because everything that he did immediately turned Julia into Suzanne. Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. And, like, Julia's like, I am sorry that I wore my hair up and for all the people I may have offended by my angular face. So then she starts looking through stuff for a ring. Like, she gets a rose and starts pulling part of rose. When she hit that rose on the counter, I about died. And, like, she's looking through the bread, the butter, the gravy, the champagne bucket. Like, Dixie Carter is going all out, and I am loving every minute of it. It was so perfect. It really was so perfect. And then the gift arrives on a platter, lifts it up, and there's a canary. Oh my God. A very fine bird. He's a fine bird. And then Hal and her have a little going back and forth. I could have gotten you a coat or a car, a fur coat or a car. But what would be the point if you could get me a bird like this? Like, that was another great moment though, because she is so interesting in this episode. Like, she's right there on the edge of like this weird like sorrow / anger. Yeah. And you can hear it in her voice. And I was like, why didn't she? But if you look at her face during this, like, I wonder how many times they had to film this, because Dixie Carter is barely holding it together. Like, she is right there with the audience. She is getting ready to laugh her ass off. I mean, it's beautiful. It really is. And oh no, Reese realizes that she was expecting a ring. Why would he expect? I mean, just being a man, period. And it's a anniversary dinner of some kind. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't that have ever crossed his mind up until that moment? I mean, I will give him the benefit of the doubt, because he's older. They're both older. They're both widowers. They both lost their partner relatively recently, right? They could have just met. Like, they obviously like each other, but they probably, knowing them and knowing the way they are, it seems like they're very honest with each other and have maybe been like, I'm not ready. Let's take this slowly. So he was, that's where I got it. I can see that. But I mean, even though, well, I mean, if we just go based off of television and the ad world, like you can just give people rings for anything now. So, I mean, you know, we see them for Mother's Day, we see them for bat mitzvahs, we see them for, you know, hey, you got your hysterectomy, here's a ring, right? Like
a hysterectomy ring?
I don't know, they have them for everything nowadays. It'll probably be more like a charm bracelet.
God, what those Pandoras that's got a uterus on it. Jesus Christ. and
Sorry.
So Reese asks her to marry him, and he says, we'll get a house and raise the bird together. Like, and that's just, he is right there with her. Like, he can deliver lines as hard and as fast as Dixie Carter, and it is great.
I love it. I love it so much. And then Reese realizes something. He's like, hey, we should actually just get married.
Yeah.
And Dixie's like, Julia's like, what? And I love that he ties it into a betting pool scheme.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, what's happening right now? And it was just so perfect because that's such an 80s thing. Oh, that was such an 80s thing. Those betting pools for every little thing.
You mean your company doesn't do them?
Betting pools? No.
Oh, yeah, we still do the when's the baby gonna be born betting pool.
Who gets the money?
Whoever wins the betting pool.
Do you split it with the mother?
No. You just buy them a butt ton of diapers. Okay.
All right. Okay. That makes not sense, but you know, it makes something.
Yeah. Anyway, the next morning, Julia's very hungover. Like,
I loved it.
Her huge hair crawling downstairs. Like, she's like, he gave me this bird and we got married.
So just so you know, whenever we do start making our merchandise, there was a line here that we're going to use definitely is, Julia, you look awful. And she says, and I quote, I look awful because I feel awful. And I thought, I want that on a shirt because that sums up my life.
I look awful because I feel awful. Julia Sugarbaker.
That's it. I was like, that's it. That's my life.
Oh,
right
God.
They drank all the champagne in Georgia.
All the champagne in Georgia. But like, Julia's like, no. We aren't going to stay married. It's going to devastate Reese because he was so excited to be married. But this is not for me. Not for me. Reese comes in. Charlene says, shall we celebrate with some Sanka? And then he asked for it black. I'm like...
I wrote it down too. I was like, oh my God, yes!
I'm like, what Sanka?
I kept saying,
I'd celebrate with Sanka.
All I kept thinking was like, these are our people. These are our people.
So Reese pulls out some annulment papers. It's like... we made a mistake. Let's just take care of it. And she's like, I know you. I know this. And I know our relationship. Period.
Yeah, why don't you take these papers, fold it in 5 quarters, and put it where the sun don't shine? And then she slides it into his belt like his little pants. I was like, Julia, girl.
Yeah. So then we fade to black.
Yep, very suddenly.
And we fade back in, and Julia is lying in bed. She's been there for 2 days, and she has not eaten. She's very tired and over it. And Charlene brings her food and asks her what she's named the bird. She's like, I don't know, but if he ever needs to get a driver's license, I'll be sure to take care of it just before. And she keeps pressing, and he's just like, Tweety.
I thought that was brilliant.
It really was.
Personally. Also,
Uh-huh.
I mean, let's be super honest here, she looked quite amazing laying in that bed.
Oh yeah, she did.
I got like the biggest Tennessee Williams vibes off of
Oh
that
yeah.
moment.
Yeah. I mean, and of course she's still putting on her face. What Southern woman is not putting on a face to be in bed? Right? Like,
my mother was just having this conversation with me just the other day. She was like, I don't care if I never leave the house. I'm not putting on my face.
That's like, exactly right. You've got a compact right under Tweety.
Under the shredded magazines.
Under the shredded magazines. Oh, God. So then they're like, well, you need to get over yourself because you didn't even want to get married anyway. Also, they go into a discussion and tell her that she needs to get up because she's going to lose her muscles are going to atrophy and she's going to start growing facial hair.
Oh, wait, what is it Charlene said? If I'm ever in the hospital and I can't do anything for myself, well, what do y'all please promise me that you're going to show up with some tweezers?
And Maryjo just looks at her and goes, only if you'll do the same. And then Suzanne's like, I don't have facial hair. and Julia's like, well, thank you for this in-depth conversation about such an important topic. Now leave my room.
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
She is too much. Like, I don't know. If I was in a hospital, I'm trying to think of the thing I would ask for you to come do for me if I couldn't do it for myself. I don't know. I probably would want you to, I don't know, go get me candy more than anything else, probably. Because I was about to
say, it ain't bathe you because they got big buff guys who could do that.
I don't want them to bathe me. It'll be weird. Because I'll be like, oh my God, I saw you at the club the other night. Oh, now I'm in the hospital. What a coincidence.
They're like, it happens to everybody, honey.
Yeah,
I don't know why the buff person bathed you as Harvey Firestein.
I was wondering that myself. When you said it, I was like, oh.
His grandparents moved down there or something. He's just working it out.
Don't forget, like, there's everybody in South Florida, the last thing they want to do is sound like Harvey Firestein. So they sound like a tough Harvey Firestein because they think that that's the thing. I know. Embrace the femme, y'all. Embrace the femme. It's going to be there. Eventually, you'll be able to fake it. It's just going to take over.
It's exactly right. I stopped in, like, 9th grade. I don't even think I started. What am I saying?
I was about to say, like, did we start?
No, girl. No.
I'm trying to think, was there a time when I tried to be super butch? Like, maybe?
I had somebody who, I could smack her. I'm not going to because that's violence towards women and that's wrong. But she came up to me and was like, hey, Eric, what's it sound like if you talk a little bit lower? And I was like, it sounds like this. She's like, oh, you should do that. I'm like, no. What? No.
I hate people.
I do too. I do too.
I can't remember where it was. Oh, it's when I used to go to Ramrod all the time.
Ramrod!
Right? And I used to, like, back in when I was, like, the 10 months of being single. And I remember so distinctly that a few people would come up to talk to me. And when we go outside, and as soon as we got outside where they could actually hear me, they quickly were like, it's nice meeting you, and, like, walk away.
I wonder how the eunuch's doing now during the pandemic.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know, actually.
I know.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good question.
Yeah.
Gosh, what a place this is.
What a place. What a place. I don't think I successfully urinated in that bar. Because I'm a little pee shy to begin with. And, like, it is not for the pee shy.
No, I actually had a friend that tried to pee there, and someone, like, reached out their hand and just put their hand in the middle of the stream just so they could, like, smell it or something like that. I was just like, I'm sorry, what?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, being pee shy, it's actually warranted there because you just never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. But I was also very drunk, so I had to have peed there. Like, I was... Oh. Anyway.
So I have to say, right? Like, when...
good. Thank you. Back to the episode.
So before we get to, like, the climax, right?
Oh, God.
Shut up. Before we get to the climax of, like, the situation, I have to admit there was something that happened before she kicked them out of the thing, right?
Okay.
Before she kicked them out, one thing did happen that was pretty substantial, which is Julia Sugarbaker admitted to being selfish, small-minded, and that she had to always get her way.
Yep.
And she attributed it to her family chromosomal defect that affects all the women in the Sugarbaker side of the family. When she said that, I was like, you might never get this moment again, that she actually admits to this for just this one moment. So I was like, let me make sure I write this down, because I need the audience to know that she recognizes that she's just as bad as Suzanne.
So, Reese is there with the minister.
Minister Reverend Gilbert, which I thought was really great, because obviously, you know.
Yeah. Oh, and Suzanne recognized him. Like, they're like, you look really familiar. Wonder how that joke's going to play out. Right. So Julia comes downstairs, looks a complete mess. Like, her hair is huge.
It was drag queen hair.
It was drag queen hair. Like, I shouldn't say a complete mess. She looked great.
It wasn't a mess at all, actually.
It wasn't a mess at all. And Suzanne sent Reese a telegram.
Yes.
Like,
that's what you do in 1986.
No, it's not. You call them, like, send them a telegram. That's like going to a Western Union, spend a couple of dollars where they type it out for you, mail it to them. Like, a telegram?
I mean, maybe because...
unless it's like Clue. I am your singing telegram.
Boom. Maybe they said telegram just because Reese is so old.
Okay.
You know, like, maybe they made it because, like, Reese is kind of older, so maybe they just thought, like, well, you know, that'll sound more romantic, right? Because you can't be like, well, I called him on the phone. Well, he called me on the phone. It's like, if you say telegram, the audience would be like, oh, that's actually really sweet. They thought they got telegrams.
They got Morse code.
Could you imagine Suzanne with those acrylics trying to do Morse code?
I know, right?
That would be amazing.
Were there acrylic nails back then, or those are actual nails?
I think they still had press-on nails back then, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, they're probably some press-ons.
Yeah. Lee press-on.
Was it Lee press-on?
Yeah. Remember the Lee press-on
I
nails?
do remember the Lee press-on nails.
I wanted them so bad.
Can you wear press-on nails? Are you good at wearing nails?
I am good at wearing them. The problem with nails right now, because of the pandemic, is that when we do live shows, besides that, is that part of what we do at the theater to keep everybody safe is everybody has a mic condom, right?
Okay.
So if you go up there, you have to put the condom on. That's not easy to do with those kinds of nails. Yeah, exactly. And so I find that I can do them on and I can put them on and everything at like the last, like just before I go perform. But if I'm hosting, especially because I have to take it on and put it back off again, it's not as easy. So I usually will just like put some nails on a glove, right? Like glue it to a glove, so it's just easier.
I never liked wearing nails. They make me feel uncomfortable. They make me feel like I can't like grab things. So
I love it. They're like, I mean, I just love it.
They always fly off too. Like I'll be doing something and pew, and I'm like, damn it, that's like $5 because now I don't have a complete set anymore.
But that's why you super glue them to a set of gloves, right? Like,
well, yeah,
honestly,
that's
it's cheating, but at the same time, it's like nobody cares.
I love like Juno Birch with those yellow gloves that she paints the nails on.
Yes,
beautiful.
God bless you, Juno.
God bless you, Juno. So Reese is there to marry her. Like he's like, you need to look proper for this. He grabs a veil, throws it on her head, and like hands her a bouquet. And she's like, stop, we can't. And then he's like, "Oh, are you rejecting me?" She's like, "Yes, yes, I'm rejecting you." And he's like, "Everybody hear it?" And Charlie's like, "Yes, and I'm an old republic."
Yes.
And I just feel like that was just sort of a line thrown in there.
I love it so much.
Because Hal Holbrook's like, "Well, you in front of everybody here, we've got witnesses, and Charlene's going to notarize it that you so rejected me." Oh, God. And as he turns away to leave, Julia says, "Next time you bring a fake minister, make sure it's not the parking attendant at the country club."
Oh, man. Oh, remember country club life back then?
Yes,
kids?
yes.
Oh,
I never actually went to a country club until in high school.
I mean, I went to the country club. I went to the country club neighborhood before.
Yeah, yeah. But not the actual country club.
No, it wasn't until we had that. Was it the Valentine's dance there or something?
No, it was Halloween. It was the one where you had to dress up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I because my family never put on airs. And yes, I came from a little bit of a privileged life. I'm not going to lie. We had a pool, so I didn't need to go to a country club. We did.
Oh, privileged white person. What? But you did good, girl. You had You had your bestie that came from the hood. And
oh yes, from the wrong side of the tracks.
Technically, I was still on the right side of the tracks.
You were on the right side of the tracks.
Because it's kind of complicated where our tracks are there. There is a wrong
like
side.
This, like Gardner Bagnall. You weren't quite Gardner Bagnall,
girl. Girl.
If you want to read something racist,
who doesn't?
They're putting a park in on one of the wet parks off of Shelton Avenue in Statesville.
Oh no!
And they're like, "Why you gonna do that? Nothing but crackheads over there. Why you gonna do that? It's just gonna be full of litter. Why you gonna do that? It's gonna be nothing but crime." All I'm hearing is, "Why you gonna do that? It's gonna be full of black people." And then it's also followed by, "They should bring it back to being Lakewood Park, away from Martin Luther King Park, because they shouldn't never changed it in honor of him."
I love the fact that people have no idea how racist the place is that we came from, because we're so grounded and we're so kind of like this that I sometimes I'll just for fun. The people in the theater, occasionally the Statesville Record and Landmark will have a doozy of an article. And just for fun, I'll share it with the group down here, and who is almost all like Miami born or like has lived here for a long time. And they're literally looking at me like, how did you survive that?
Oh, the comments are so... I read them because there's like 3 or 4 people that are just so racist.
Racist.
And there's one now that God is his vaccine, and he says it every time. I'm like, no, viruses don't choose when you die. God does, and God is my vaccine. I'm like, but if God, hold on, your theory falls apart, because if God created all in your mind, God created this vaccine, or God created this virus to infect people. So he created the virus so it could kill you, but also he gave us the vaccine, which could save your life. So in theory, he wants you to take the vaccine. Your argument's null and void. Let's move on with our lives.
I do wonder, right? Like when people have that sort of mentality and mindset, it does make me wonder sometimes, like, if you do get the virus, are you now in that mindset where like, well, guess it's my time. I'll just go ahead and make peace with it. Is that what you do? No, actually, you're probably going to go to the hospital where they're going to do things that are the same thing as getting the vaccine.
So I know somebody, not directly, but I know somebody whose relative is a denier. Not denier, but that it wasn't going to be as serious as thought. Got it pretty bad. Jesus brought her through. not the hospital. Jesus brought her through. And she's fine now, even though she has to have oxygen probably for the rest of her life. She's fine because that's the way God wanted her to be, or something like that. Like it's that mentality is so hard to break that, and we anyway, that was the end of the episode.
Girl, I felt a Julia Sugarbaker moment coming on right there.
And I let it go because this is a happy show.
I love it. It's great, right? I mean, think about it, right? You have two middle-aged drag queens sitting in our places of drag and being joyful with each other over our long friendship.
Yep.
It's no time for us to pull Julia Sugarbakers until it is.
It's exactly right. We haven't reached that stage yet. Let's get everybody to 60% vaccinated, and then I will let them have it. So, did you like this episode?
This has been one of my favorites so far. I mean, I am as a Southern boy, I am a Hal Holbrook fan, right? We've all seen him do Mark Twain, all of us.
Yeah.
And so I love their back and forth. I love their chemistry. I forgot how much I liked it until I saw it again because it's been so long since I've seen any of their episodes together. I just loved it. It was good.
I completely agree. This has been one of my favorite episodes. My husband loved it. He said this is the best episode they've had so far. Which is interesting. I had forgotten about this episode. We passed by two of the most iconic episodes, Design House and the Miss Georgia World, which is what we're going to go to next. But this is probably comedy-wise the funniest episode. Like, Dixie Carter does some heavy lifting. Hal Holbrook is a perfect straight man. And there's it was one of the first that focused on one person, one small thing, and not try to get all of the other stories in there that get convoluted. Yep. Like it is a comedy of errors that just sort of worked, right?
Yeah, it's totally like a romantic farce,
right? And you had somebody like one of the main characters disagreed. Like last time we were talking about how the main characters don't disagree with each other. Suzanne's like, no, he's obviously not going to ask her to. He's not ready. Like it's no.
What's funny to me too is that of anybody that Julia should have listened to, it should have been Suzanne because no one has the experience of that woman.
That's exactly right.
She knows when a man is ready.
Exactly right. So, next question for you. Do you have a Miss Georgia World?
Oh, yes, and yes.
Who is it?
Julia Sugarbaker coming down at the last moment in that red Scarlett O'Hara inspired negligee with her hair up in that Lady Bunny style. I lived for that.
So mine, is Hal Holbrook at the restaurant. That man looks good in a tux.
He did.
Like he's an older gentleman in a tux. He looked dignified, and it was a classic black and white tux. Like it just looked great. Like good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For 6 months too, 6-month anniversary. That is not what I look like.
Hell no, I don't even remember.
I don't think we celebrated it. I think that's what privileged white people do.
I mean, as a privileged white person, I'm trying to think if I did. Did you like that one?
I loved it. Once again, there's that comic timing I love so much.
Oh, God. So next week we have Season 1, Episode 9, The IT Man.
Yes.
I assume it's the IT Man, not the It Man, because IT's capitalized.
Yeah.
Speaking of the IT crowd, actually, or whatever that, Richard Iowade has a TV show that I think you should watch. It's called Travel Man.
Okay.
It's on Journey, which is on Roku. It is a channel Journy without the E.
Okay.
It is not a pay network, so it's got a couple of simple little ads. Basically, he goes on 3-day weekend trips to random places you can get to easily, with another British star.
Okay.
It is, the first season's a little rough. The second season,
Cool.
like the first episode of the second season's him with oh my god, his Irish co-star. What's his name?
Oh, I can't remember his name, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, the hot one. Hot.
Chris
O'Dowd. Yeah.
Yeah. I had such a crush on him. Such a crush on him.
Hot. Not Colin Farrell hot. That's
No.
that's a.
But he's like our kind of hot.
Yeah. I mean, Colin Farrell's my kind of hot too. I just like men.
No, yeah, but I know you love men. I also love men. However, we do have there is a very specific kind of hot.
Yeah.
That gay nerds kind of drift towards. So he definitely falls into that.
You know who does not do it for me? That I am surprised does not do it for me?
I'm guessing you're going to say Henry Cavill.
Well, that's somebody else. Idris Elba just doesn't. I don't know why.
You know what so I'll say this, right? This is Idris Elba. Idris Elba, the actor, doesn't do it for me. However, go watch Idris Elba DJing.
Okay.
It's literally two different people.
Okay.
His because he's real,
okay.
right? Him acting is him acting. When he's DJing and he's laughing and having a good time and doing the things he's doing, I literally was because I didn't like him. I was never really that drawn to him, but when I watched him DJ, because he's actually become a very prominent DJ.
Okay.
But when I saw him DJ the first time, at a live thingy, I was just oh, this is the real Idris Elba. This is the dude right here that is I can tell I would like to hang out with this guy, because he just came across as being so cool and so nice and warm.
You know who does it for me that I'm ashamed to admit does it for me? You ready for this?
Oh, God.
Pete Davidson from SNL.
You know the problem? I don't have a problem with him particularly. My only problem with him is he just reminds me too much.
Wait, hold on. I don't have a problem with it, but I got a problem with him, and you're going to hear about it. Go on.
It's not a problem. It's just he just reminds me a lot about people that I've known. It's that's the thing about him. Is I feel we've known a lot of guys like Pete Davidson.
See,
and yeah,
I feel and I always got along with them. It was the guys who act like Colin Jost that I hated.
I don't like Colin Jost either.
I don't either. But I was watching an older episode of SNL last night, because they show the older ones before. It was from 2018, and he looked so tired and over the world at that moment. Like something had happened. Wait, was that the time that the Scarlett Johansson stuff was going on? Was that 2018? Like when she was the Ghost in the Shell?
I just realized that probably would have been around that Ghost in the Shell time.
Yeah, and that I could play a tree, I could play a trans person, it doesn't matter. That crazy. That could have been it. Here I thought was Donald Trump was wearing them down. Maybe it was the Scarlett Johansson stuff.
Yeah. But they're married now, so it's nice, I guess.
Isn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Although I would say that the only thing Pete Davidson probably has going against him with you is that, according to Ariana, he does have a very large you-know-what, so I know you're not that into mega penises.
You know what? To look at, it's fine. I ain't gonna sleep with him.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen and everything in between, on that note, this was Baking Sugar, your definitive guide to all things designing women. I was your host, Auntie Maim.
And I am the Divine Mims. You can find me on the Twitters at @designingwomen, not @thedivinemissmims, @designingwomen. You can also follow our Patreon @Mims and Maim. You can follow our Twitter @Mims and Maim, and tell them where they can find you, Auntie Maim.
Yeah, you can find me also on the socials @auntie-maim. No, it's auntie.maim. MAIM, not MAME, like the original movie. I don't want to get chased down for copyright. And yeah, it's pretty much the same everywhere, right? So if you put in Auntie Maim, it's going to just show me because nobody else wants this damn name.
All right, girl. Well, it has been fun.
It has. You got to go have some dinner.
I've got to take a shower first because I am not that bad, but you know, not as bad as Ramrod. All right, bye, girl.
Bye, Andy.
Bye. See if I can figure out how to stop this thing.